Hey guys, this is Mr. Oxy coming at you live from Palm Beach in Florida. It is June the 27th. It is Monday. Lots of things are happening in the media and lots of things are happening all over the world as it relates to the environment, climate change, carbon emissions, global warming, sea level rise, all kinds of things. So what I want to do today is take a few minutes of your time and kind of walk you through the adult version of the environmental solution that we are trying to look for or trying to achieve. So what I've done is I've prepared a quick presentation that I'm going to share with you, just touching on some of the things that are currently going on, including some of the things that are absolutely current in terms of what has happened over the past weekend and even today. So first things first, this is a screenshot of a tweet from 21st Century Wire, pyramid stage at Glastonbury after Greta Thunberg's environmental speech. This is what the environmentalists left behind for the janitors to clean up. And arguably, you can say it's a good thing that they did that because otherwise the janitors would not have a job or have jobs. But to me, it just smacks of hypocrisy. On one hand, you are trying to convince people to join your cult to save the planet. And on the other hand, this is how you treat the planet. So without getting too much into the sort of social, political, science part of this, let's spend more time looking at the facts and see what's going on. Specifically, what I am going to do is talk about not specifically Occidental, but Occidental's Occidental Low Carbon Ventures Initiative, advancing a low carbon future. We advance visionary technologies that accelerate global emissions reduction in our own operations and other industries. Now, Oxy, of course, as you know, if you've been following Occidental, has been very active in the low carbon emissions environment for quite some time now. In fact, it is one of Vicky Holub's strongest talking points. During the quarterly earnings calls, if you listen to Vicky, if anyone asks a question about Oxy low carbon ventures, CO2 emissions, net zero, etc., Vicky can actually, except for the fact that there's a time limit on the conference call, Vicky could probably speak for a whole day just on some of the initiatives that they're doing. So what's happening in the news today? This is today, June the 27th, 2022. 1.5, that, as you might know, is a subsidiary of Occidental's low carbon ventures business. And Manulife, you may not know Manulife. Manulife is a large financial services firm headquartered in Canada. And Manulife in the US, for people who are in the US, is also the owner of the domestic firm by the name of John Hancock, which might be a little bit more familiar to most people in the United States. So 1.5, a sub of Occidental and Manulife, a major financial services firm out of Toronto, Canada, announced the lease agreement that they executed for a carbon capture and sequestration project in Louisiana. Oxy Low Carbon Ventures and Manulife entered into a lease agreement for approximately 27,000 acres of timberland in western Louisiana. The agreement provides 1.5 with access to subsurface pore space and surface rights to develop and operate a carbon sequestration hub with access to permanently store industrial carbon emission. 2 Class 6 injection permits required by the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, for geologic sequestration have already been filed for the site. What exactly is air capture? Now, in really simple terms, and remember, I'm not a scientist, much like most people watching this channel are probably not really scientifically minded or expert scientists, but basically what air capture does, according to CB Insights, is large fans draw air from the atmosphere. There are a number of filters that contain engineered chemicals that concentrate the CO2 from the air. The filter material is heated to release the captured CEO, and filtered CO2-free air is then released back into the atmosphere. From an Occidental point of view, concentrated CO2 is stored or transformed into other goods. Now, Occidental has been very clear on explaining to people like myself who are not very scientifically minded that they will actually use the concentrated CO2 in order to improve or increase their yield in their fracking business. So there are multiple layered benefits to this whole practice, because in addition to Occidental using it to improve their own yield, they're also capturing CO2 emissions, and at the same time they can also sell it to other firms and other businesses, as they have done in the past, where they executed an agreement with United Airlines just a short while ago. I think it was last year. So 1.5 says carbon engineering. Direct air capture technology combines proven systems to capture CO2 directly from the atmosphere. How do they do it? With these big fans. So that's why I added this picture. You can see the actual size and scale and scope of the fans that extract the air and then sequestrates the CO2. The lease agreement is a pivotal first step in 1.5 strategic vision to develop carbon capture and sequestration hubs. Manulife, their acreage offers excellent storage capacity with proximity to point source industrial emitters who would otherwise emit carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. This all sounds a little bit technical, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I started off with a light-hearted stab at your girlfriend and mine, Greta Thunberg, and a recent speech at our environmental summit. I'm going to come back to that one at the closing because I want to show you that for old guys like myself, Greta is not the first rodeo, right? We've seen this movie a few times before. I'm going to show you an example of that when I get to the end of this. Manulife, this is from their website, a commitment to sustainability. I took a screenshot of their stock. I don't think you want to buy or invest in the stock at all, unless you're looking for a dividend yield. I'll talk more about that one in just a second. 1.5 is a carbon capture, utilization, and sequestration platform. So carbon capture, utilization, and sequestration, CCUS. I think this might be an acronym that we will become more familiar with or see more often on a go-forward basis, starting around about now. 1.5 is working to help curb global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius by 2050 through the deployment of decarbonization solutions, including, of course, Occidental Low Carbon Ventures, direct air capture, which is what they're doing. Occidental's Low Carbon Ventures is focused on advancing cutting-edge low-carbon technologies and business solutions that enhance Oxy's business. As I mentioned, it will improve their yield while reducing emissions. In other words, for Oxy, it's a twofold benefit here, directly from a business point of view, but in addition to that, they can also sell it to other businesses, including other oil and gas producers. Manulife Investment Management is the global brand of the global wealth and asset management segment of Manulife Financial Corporation, headquartered in Toronto. So I mentioned that just a minute ago. What do they say? So there's CCUS, right? So right there in the middle of your screen, CCUS, Carbon Capture, Utilization, and Sequestration, CCUS. We are excited to join with Manulife and lease the acreage to develop a hub that will provide sequestration infrastructure and services for industrial emitters, and 1.5's future DAC is direct air capture facilities, said Doug Conquest for Oxy Low Carbon Ventures. This agreement strengthens our CCUS position and advances commercial scale decarbonization solutions in line with Oxy's net zero goals. What did Manulife say? So Eduardo Hernandez from Manulife Investment Management said, we focus on sustainability, managing our forests for climate positive and nature positive impact. And we are excited to find additional opportunities to continue this work for clients. They're saying all the right things. And the reason why they are saying all the right things is because regardless of what you think, what your beliefs are, which cult you are a member of, carbon capture, climate change, global warming, sea level rise, all that kind of stuff is very topical right now. So you have to address it, because if you don't address it, you just get more and more activist actions against your corporation. What about Occidental Petroleum? So obviously Oxy Low Carbon Ventures is not an equity that you can invest in, but you can certainly invest in Occidental Petroleum. It's currently trading at about $60. It's up a little bit today. And its range, 52-week range, is just sitting right of center. Just about a month ago, so we were at $74. So there's potential run rate here. And remember, we are just a couple of days away from the end of the second quarter. And crude for the entire second quarter was above $100 per barrel. And Oxy has been producing 1.1 to 1.2 million barrels per day. So it should be an exceptionally good quarter. Oxy's PE ratio is quite attractive right now. It's below 9. We actually want to be below 15. As a general rule, you're not buying Oxy for its dividend. It's too small, but they might increase the dividend as soon as the very next conference call or even before then. It's now almost 80% held by institutions, but take note, right at the bottom in the middle of the screen, short interest has actually gone up quite significantly. to 6.4%. So many people, more certainly than last month and the previous month and the month before that, more people are expecting Oxy to pull back a little bit now with short interest up to 6.5%. What about Manulife Financial? So I mentioned you don't necessarily want to buy the stock unless you're looking for the dividend yield. It pays an annual dividend of $1, which currently at the stock price yields about 6% per year. So not a bad savings account. So if you think of Manulife and you say, I'm going to buy Manulife for $17, maybe within the next 3 to 5 years, it's going to trade in a range which will be reasonably narrow, I predict. Let's say between $15 and $20. So there's not going to be too much movement in terms of your equity return based on the stock price. But certainly, if you view it as a savings account, you can sock away 6% per year, which is about 5 gazillion times more than what the average savings account or certified deposit account at a bank will pay you. Manulife is sitting near its 52-week low, which ranges 16 to 22. That's why I kind of also offered the range of about $15 to $20 might be the range that it would be trading in. It has positive earnings and it has a PE ratio of only 4.7, below 5. So it's super cheap at the price, but I wouldn't buy Manulife even with your money. You know, if you want to park some money there because it's a savings account paying you 6% per year, that's probably okay. Manulife is one of those financial services firms out of Canada that's proverbially safe as houses, right? So it's not going anywhere. It's a strong company with a market cap of around $33 billion. Now, I mentioned at the start of the presentation, or during the presentation, I'll come back to Greta at the end, and this is the last slide that I want to share with you. Severin Suzuki. Now, I'm not old enough to know who Severin's predecessor was, but I know that Severin was the predecessor to Greta Thunberg. Severin said, my father, whose name is David Suzuki, who was a well-known environmentalist in Canada, or maybe is, I don't know. My father always says, you are what you do, not what you say. Well, what you do makes me cry at night. You grown-ups say you love us. I challenge you, please make your actions reflect your words. I am only a child, yet I know if all the money spent on war was spent on ending poverty and finding environmental answers, what a wonderful place the earth would be. Severin and I agree with you that we should stop spending money on war. And we certainly have the ability or have the means to end poverty, but finding environmental answers just really depends whether you are going to be one of the adults in the room or whether you are going to be one of the emotional people that try to move the needle for people to really just make donations to environmental causes that you support. And that's what it's all about. You can literally just follow the money. She said, I'm quoting here, I'm afraid to go out in the sun now because of holes in the ozone. This was in 1992. I'm afraid to breathe the air because I don't know what chemicals are in it. 1992 was 30 years ago. I used to go fishing in Vancouver with my dad until just a few years ago we found fish full of cancers. And now we hear about animals and plants going extinct every day, vanishing forever. So where is Severin Suzuki now? Well, Severin is approximately 42 years old, and she lived with her husband and 2 sons in Haida Gwaii in British Columbia in Canada until August 2021 when she moved to Vancouver, one of the filthiest cities, one of the largest carbon emission cities in the world, Vancouver, BC, to start her new role as the executive director of David Suzuki Foundation, which is her father, and she started in that role in September 2021. Now, you can make of that Greta Thunberg and Severin Suzuki whatever you will. If you like them, if you support them, hey, hats off to you. What I want to do is I want to focus, along with the other adults in the room, on real solutions to real problems. And sometimes it's simple solutions to complex problems. But you get companies like Occidental Petroleum who step up and say, guys, we have figured this out and we're going to make it work. And that is the kind of solution that I would like to support. So this is Rudy for Best Investor saying thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.